Hello.
Let's get some microphones on.
Oh, yeah.
Let's get these fancy new mics all set up. Good morning, everyone.
Hello.
We are a bit early. I'll lift my cup over at the table. You got your coffee?
Yes, sir. Good morning, Poison. How are you, brother?
Doing a little fly hunting this morning.
Yeah, where are they at?
Flies are crazy around here.
Welcome to Arkansas.
Beautiful day to lift up the overhead door, but we can't do it because we'll be invaded.
We'll be overrun.
What do you got going on this weekend, Poison?
I gotta go scalp farmers market vendors after this.
Yeah.
I forgot about that.
Yeah.
See if there's some good ones. I'd like to have about two more like neat food trucks too.
Yeah. How many food trucks are there so far? 4?
4.
KRB, good morning.
What's up? What's up? What's up?
Waiting on the brother-in-law. Gonna mash that double of Jason's toasted. Nice.
Good morning, Miss Joe.
Joe, good morning.
Hey, Joe, have you got your package yet? Your hydrometer set?
Neil, good morning. So this is the Saturday open live. Looks like all the usual suspects, the members are here. So if you're in here and you're not a channel member, this is a live stream we do every morning. Saturdays we do an open live, anyone can come to, but Monday through Friday it's members only.
Anybody could get it.
Yeah.
Joe, I hope you get it today then. If you haven't got it yet, I hope you get it today, or, I mean, I'm guessing by the latest Monday, based on when we shipped it out.
Motor City Hillbilly. So the first test on the SCR controller, my guess is definitely the box is a little too tight. It did get pretty hot. It did run the whole time. It never shut off. The fan kind of kicked on and off occasionally.
It got hot for sure.
You could smell it. Like at the end of the run, you could smell the box and you're like, oh,
we were roasting it a little bit.
Yeah. Good morning, everyone. Hey, Si, haven't got my grain yet. Ordered the 3rd. Should it be here? Should it be here yet?
KRB, if you ordered it the 3rd, it is out on its way to you, and we can maybe try to look at it once we get off here. And if you, I can't remember. Do you remember his name?
No.
KRB, shoot us a message, an email, or whatever, and we'll look at the tracking on it and see where it's at for you.
Or call the shop.
There's a lot of people probably getting packages today or Monday, depending on where you guys are at. Yeah, and you can always call the shop.
Ray, good morning. Rodney, good morning.
Birmingham has a terrible post office, so things are delayed. I'm sorry to hear that.
There are some post offices out there like that.
They're not all created equally.
We had one guy that the post office didn't even send it to the right post office. They sent it to a different post office, and we're going to make him come get it. And he's like, I'm not driving 45 minutes.
Remember that stuff that went to Little Rock and then ended up in like New Jersey?
Yeah.
Before it came back to us?
No, it was coming from Corpus Christi to us.
Yeah.
And it
went to Memphis, came to Little Rock, and then went to New Jersey.
Yeah.
We're like, all right. We're calling them, complaining about it, and they're like, yeah, it looks like it's in New Jersey. And we're like, we know that. We can see that much.
Why? When is it going to get here? Yeah, that was pretty wild. It took the scenic route for sure.
I am, well, So some of you may or may not have seen, but I put a TikTok on concerning the whole personal use thing that we discussed in one of the lives, and so it forced me to brush back up on that home distillers hobby. Well, oh man, I've copied and pasted it into my comments several times, and it's like you still can't remember it, but it's the. Hobby Distillers Association v. Alcohol and Tobacco Tax and Trade Bureau. So what I'm going to try to do for everybody is reach out to the counsel listed in that case for the plaintiffs, the Hobby Brewers Association, and see if we can get a deep dive on what they think of it, hurdles they had to overcome. You can read through the long, lengthy opinion of that court and see how they got there and everything, but I kind of want to hear it straight from the camel's mouth and what they think. So I'm trying to the best of my ability, from a meaningful source, get information on that case.
Yeah.
So I'm working on that. Just a little update for you guys.
Cool if we could do like an interview with him.
That's what I want to do.
Awesome.
That's what I want to do. I want to reach out to him, have a phone call, ask a few questions, and then try to feel them out about getting them on the live for 20 minutes or so.
Yeah, that'd be good.
On a call in.
Dan, trying to salvage my 20-gallon Hickory King mash, went flat in 48 hours. pH fell to 3.3. Added baking soda, bring it to 5.4. Airlock burping again. Am I screwed? No, you're probably not screwed. Yeah, if it's burping again, it's going. Temperature is always something to keep an eye on. Make sure it's plenty warm enough. Yeah, so it sounds like you did just the right thing, and it's going again. Bob, good morning. Good morning from San Antonio. Rodney with the 5 gifted memberships and an entry into the giveaway this month.
Rodney Mifflin is racking up entries. I've seen a lot of Rodney packages. I've seen some gifts.
He's getting his entries in there.
Yeah, dude, he's going for it.
Colton, Jeff, good morning. So yeah, for those of you that may be in the live right now, we got 41 people in here right now, and you don't know, we are giving away
that little bad boy right back there.
One of these 8-gallon Mile High dual-purpose Pro Stills. The entries are all coming in this month. We're going to give it away on June 5th. We're going to do the drawing during the live stream. When developing a mash recipe, do you prefer to use PPG calculation or diastatic power calculation? Well, I use both.
Both of them.
Yeah, to create the recipe, because I want to know. I use the PPG to target a starting gravity, and then I use the diastatic power to calculate how much like malted rye or malted barley. If I'm using a malted grain to convert the starches, the diastatic power is what you use to figure out how much of a malted barley or whatever 2-row you're going to use.
Sorry about that.
You're all right. But honestly, like, I think now that developing recipes from here on is going to be a little different for me. I'm not even going to worry about diastatic power. I'm going to use the malted grains that I like for the flavor of the malted grain.
Yeah.
And I'm going to be using the liquid enzymes. And so it doesn't even matter what the diastatic power is, because that stuff's going to convert. So it's really easy. It's just a simple 0.8 milliliters per pound of grain in your recipe.
Don't let me forget to send DRC some liquid enzyme. Gotcha. He was asking me about them. He was trying to pay for them, and I was like, no, please do not do that.
Yeah.
He's like, well, if you send me them, you don't let me pay for them, I'm just going to send you extra steel parts. And I'm like, this is getting a little ridiculous, brother. Also, don't threaten me with a good time.
Yeah. Jeffrey says to make sure they come out close to each other.
Janetta Rothmeyer, good morning.
Not sure. I'm not sure what you mean by that, but your PPG, you use your PPG to calculate what your starting gravity is going to be. And so, like, if you're making a whiskey and you want it to come out at 1070, you've got to know your PPG of all the grains that are in the mash to be able to figure out how much of these grains per how much of this water to get to a 1070 starting gravity.
Jeff,
and that's all you use the PPG for.
that's a good rule of thumb. He's asking, so you're basically saying 2 to 2.5 pounds of grain per gallon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the the average PPG of grains is like 30. So you could just use 30 and not know what all the PPGs are, and you're going to get close, because some of them are like 32, 33. Some of them are down around 29. But if you just use 30 as the average PPG, you'll get real close to whatever your target is.
Also, you're never really getting like 100% conversion, right?
So that number, the 30, is an 85% conversion.
Okay, that's on
So
85.
it's already calculating in and not a full conversion.
Explain this to me. How is it that a pound of granulated sugar or dextrose is 30 points and a pound of grain is also 30 points-ish?
I don't know the how.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah,
a pound of just like straight sugar is, I mean, I guess a pound of grain is just a pound of starch.
Mostly, yeah. Yeah, so I don't know the answer.
I don't either.
Don't know. But yeah, so two pounds per gallon would be like a 1060, and 2.5 pounds is going to put you at 1075.
Joe Park says, did I understand you to say you can't gelatinize cracked corn? Not
You
effectively.
Not effectively. You can gelatinize a portion of your cracked corn, but on that cracked corn, on those pieces that are a little bit bigger, that starch that's on the inside and the center of that kernel is not going to get gelatinized. And so you just don't get a full gelatinization. So you wouldn't get, like going back to PPG, 32 points for corn. You're not going to get a starting gravity of 1032 with 1 pound, because you're not going to get a full conversion. You're going to be, well, I don't know what you're going to be at, but you're going to be substantially less than that. So like a 1020 or something like that, maybe.
Oh man, Kevin. Kevin says, morning everyone. Was awake until 3 a.m. because of tornadoes all around us. Lots of our community was destroyed last night. Luckily we are okay. Gonna see what we can do to help. Kevin, man, be thinking about y'all. That sucks, man.
Tornadoes are brutal.
Yeah, tornadoes, yeah, they're ain't no good. But man, glad you guys are okay.
So yeah, the learning the PPG and diastatic power is definitely a very good skill to learn if you're looking at developing your own recipes. Because without it, you're really just guessing and a lot of trial and error without just being able to simply do those calculations. And most of you probably already know, but I do have a couple of videos on creating your own, making your own recipe. And I have a specific video about PPG. I have a specific video about diastatic power, and we'll probably create more in the future, because a lot of those videos now are buried, 150 videos deep down in my library of videos on the YouTube. I guess I've been trying to get original gravity 1065, used PPG calculation, then tried to use diastatic calculation to see if the weights came out similar. So the weights, you can't use diastatic power to figure out what your starting gravity is going to be. You're really only using diastatic power to calculate how much of a malted grain to use to convert all of the starches. That's all you're using diastatic power for. And so like, should I be like a 10-pound recipe with, if I want 10 pounds of grain in my 5-gallon batch, how much malted barley do I have to use to convert the starches of all the malted barley and all of the corn and any other grain that I might have? And there's the diastatic power is the calculation that you use to go, oh, okay, I'm gonna need about 1.5 pounds of 2-row malted barley to get a full conversion of all this grain. And then the PPG tells you, with all of this grain, this is what my starting gravity will be. Why is the gifting not working on your channel? Man, I don't know. Sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. Mostly it will work. It will show up that someone gifted, and then YouTube might send you a refund for anything that you thought you gifted. But if it's not letting you gift at all, then I'm not sure that's a problem on the channel side. Would it be better to use Hickory King and Trucker's Favorite instead of cracked corn for a triple malt recipe using malted oats and caramel malt and malted barley? I think you're going to get different flavors. You know, so far with what we've done with the Hickory King and the Truckers, just knowing it has a very different flavor from just a yellow dent corn. But if you're going to use, you can use the cracked corn. You just need to grind it. Just grind it down. That's all. But I think with malted oats, caramel malt, malted barley, I think any of those three choices, Hickory King, Truckers, or just regular old yellow dent corn, those are all going to be good recipes, I think. Prayers to your community, brother, KRB says, or Kevin. Fred, sugar is 45, 2 pounds per gallon will give you 1090. Just made that wash. Yeah, if you're using table sugar, it's 45. If you're using dextrose or corn sugar, it's 35. But yeah, that's right.
2 pounds of sugar per gallon gives you 1090.
Table sugar, yeah, because table sugar PPG is 45. It's higher than dextrose.
I like that 1065.
That's where I usually like to be around.
Had a lot of good
1060,
results
1070.
from that.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just kind of a bummer you don't get as much yield as,
Yeah.
if you do like a 1120.
But on the same side of that token, if you're chasing a nice flavor and you're you're still on a spirit run type, anywhere from 1020, 1030, 1040, somewhere in there. The yield side of it, because you're running a little bit lower proof, you actually end up with a nice amount. Like if I run a 10-gallon still and I get a gallon out of it, which is like the upper end of what you can get, I'm happy with that.
Right.
Like a gallon of liquor, that's
Yeah.
And I'd take a half gallon of really, 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 really nice finished product over a gallon of like, oh, this is pretty good.
Lynn says 1 cup of sugar is equivalent to a pound. I'm not sure that's right.
I don't think a cup is quite a pound.
I don't think that's right.
I could be wrong.
Somebody jump over there and ask ChatGPT.
I'm going to do Jimmy Red, barley, and oats.
Something is telling me that's like a quarter pound.
I think it's a half pound. I think 2 cups is a pound, but I could be wrong. I've been wrong before. I might do it again.
Gonna do Jimmy Red, barley, oats, run once. My new still is ready. Whoop, whoop.
Jimmy Red, barley, and oats. I don't see why not.
Hell yeah.
I like the oats. You guys know that. I've been harping on the oats here lately. I had 1093 on the still, cut, and sugar wash last weekend. Yeah, nothing wrong with that.
Dextrose and Morena cane sugar add better flavor profile, I've noticed. Less hot. Yeah, Richard, I kind of agree with that. There is a bit of a bite to table sugar.
A little bit of a burn.
You can still get some good liquor from it though.
For sure.
I messed up math yesterday, added 4 pounds of sugar to my apple brandy. Gravity was 1060. Adding 4 pounds in 5 gallons came out 1082.
Let's see here. Okay. What kind of sugar did he say he added?
Just says sugar.
Okay. I'm going to assume table.
4 pounds of sugar to 5 gallons.
You're looking at like 36-ish, 35, no, 33-ish extra points. He was at 1060.
plus whatever you got from
Oh,
the
4 to 5. Okay, yeah. Well, that's about right. I don't think you messed up. What are you saying?
There's nothing wrong with 1082.
Yeah. What are you saying? You're thinking you added too much or not enough? I think you're fine. Mountain Brandy came out great yesterday without using the thumper.
Oh, yeah.
Joe, that's awesome.
Richard says 2 cups is a pound.
That's what I thought.
Dave, good morning. Steve Chadwick, morning, Rise and Shine. Good to see you in here, brother.
What's up, Steve?
Did you notice somebody gifted you a channel membership Thursday?
Welcome to the crew.
I once thought I was wrong, but I was mistaken. Yeah.
8 ounces in a cup, 16 ounces in a pound. Yeah, but by volume and by weight are...
You're confusing measurements by weight and measurements by volume. Is that right? That's, yeah.
But I mean, I do think they are roughly the same. They're 2 different measurements, but they actually work out to be about the same.
Do they? Man, I did see the notification. Appreciate that. Yeah, brother. I mean, it wasn't us. Somebody else, one of the members gifted it to you. Didn't add enough. Was looking for 1090, so 1082 wasn't bad. No, that's close. And you can always just toss a little bit more in there.
Yeah.
Just bump it up to where you want it.
Not too late. I played that game the other day with that all grain that I did on TikTok Live, which was the same as when I did the big mash. I did 4 pounds of sugar and 55 gallons to bump it up exactly kind of where I wanted it. And then so when I did this smaller batch of, I'd say 6.5-ish gallons or so, I think I added like, I don't know, maybe 3/4 of a pound, and ended up working out. Got it where I wanted. Kept my recipe virtually the same.
Lynn says, ordered some turbo yeast. Poor results from my sugar wash using Fleischmann's. Yeah.
It's probably because of that upper level alcohol tolerance on that yeast of 9%, which I think I learned yesterday. I don't know why I had it in my head. It was like around 12 or so. I knew it was a little bit lower, but I didn't think it was quite that low.
Yeah.
If I run sweet feed recipe in my pot and apple rye in the thumper, how would taste profile turn out? KRB, you're just gonna have to find out, brother.
Yeah, I don't
it's
know.
gonna depend on both of those 2 things that you're adding, and but I wouldn't see a good reason why that wouldn't be a nice thing to try.
Yeah, absolutely. Try it out and let us know.
Bubba J says, as a rule, 2 cups is equal to a pound. Yeah.
Racked and ran yesterday only came out at approximately 10% ABV. Racked it. Wait a minute, what are we talking about here? Oh yeah, your mash with the bread yeast came out at 10% ABV. Yeah, that's going to be the upper limit for a bread yeast. Bubba says that's from making homebrew for years. Yeah. Yeah, a lot of folks move over from, they start out making beer and then they get into distilling. And I always tell people, and you agree with me or disagree with me if you want, Bubba, but I always tell people, if you're already making beer, you've already learned all the hard parts. The distilling side is much easier than the fermenting side and the brewing side. When in doubt, just weigh it. You can't go wrong, just like the rules of baking. Yeah. Jason, I have a sugar wash working. Sugar SG was 1090s, now 1030. Today makes 7 days. Good job, Jason. Poison says, always agree, brother. Bubba says, true. Yeah. I like the bread yeast. I use a lot of Red Star and Fleischmann's. Yeah, a lot of people do use the bread yeast, and for the most part, it's not that big a deal as far as the alcohol tolerance, because most people don't do mashes above a 10% when they're making a spirit anyway.
Jeanette asked, what yeast do you recommend for corn whiskey? We use Daddy.
Daddy yeast is a good one.
Dry active distiller's yeast.
Yep. And we have that on the website now too, Janetta. If
1 pounders.
we have 1 pound bags of,
And it comes in
Daddy
all the
yeast.
comes in all the kits. 1 ounce, I think.
Yeah, 1
it's
ounce.
1 ounce in all the kits.
I don't remember what the price is on the website. $12.99 for a pound, I think.
Yeah, Ray saying I made beer for years and it's a little different with sugar wash. pH wasn't as big a concern as much with beer fermenting. Yeah, you got a lot. You got a lot. You get a lot less in terms of ABV when it comes to the majority of 95% of beers. So yeah, pH isn't typically as much of an issue. That said, we have guys that come in here that are really with it on beer, and they still watch it. They still target specific pHs. They monitor it. So, well, someone received a Rodney Mifflin membership there.
Dan Pinkston, he's in the chat. If Rick let's see. Yeah, Poison says if Rick says a little duck can pull a truck, hook that fella up. I thought Fleischmann's had a higher tolerance. I believe they started in the liquor business. They did start in the liquor business. That is a true story.
What is it?
I've never had a Fleischmann's get over like 10%, and maybe, honestly, like, yeah, that's been my experience, I'll say. Dave uses a lot of bread yeast. Maybe he can jump in here and correct me if I'm wrong on that.
Look at that handle. Meanwhile, at Red Buck Mountain Farm.
Yeah, we've seen that one before. Hello, I didn't catch the end of your first electric heater run. Sorry, but what did y'all think? I think we ruined it. I think we ruined it. So it all went into the Faints jar.
Turbo liquor.
Yeah, it was not a good run. It was human error. It was our fault. The equipment did everything it was supposed to do, and we didn't do it correctly. Mm-hmm. Thank you. Only been doing this about 3 months, and I love it. Wish I would have started before my 40s. Yeah, Jason, it easily becomes kind of an obsession, and there's nothing wrong with that.
Also, in the grand scheme of things, just looking up, because we see everyone, I don't know how comfortable you guys are with this, but wherever you're watching us from, whether it's YouTube, TikTok, Facebook, whatever, we see the age demographics of the majority of people who watch us. You're not behind, brother. You are the majority of 35 to 55 is like the
80%
meat and potatoes of what most people that are into this hobby, that's kind of their age range. So, dude, 40?
Yeah.
Who cares, man? You got plenty of time.
Yeah.
There's people that watch us that are up into their 80s that are still distilling. So, you could commit 40 years to it and still be doing it. That's
right.
A long time to perfect the craft.
Jeff's asking, what did y'all do wrong?
A couple things.
It was a culmination of a number of things that we believe we did wrong. One,
Too much mash.
we put too much mash in the still. Two, we heated up too quickly. Three, since the ferment wasn't fully complete, when we ran it, we should have degassed it, and we didn't. And then there was one more that I thought, the fact that the still, we were doing a very short column on a pot still. So our column was, it's the same, it's still sitting there. So a very short column contributed also to the puking. Ray says 50 here. Rodney says 59. KRB says 60s.
Who's the oldest distiller?
Dave says 59.
Let's see. Yeah, this is kind of a cool game to play.
B-Dub 50.
I have to think about how old I am. 31. Be
54.
32. Well,
Right.
here in a couple weeks.
I will be 54 at the end of the year.
Here in a couple weeks.
57, 53. Joe's going to jump in here and call y'all a bunch of pups here in a minute. Paul, 60. Richard, 49. Zach's a youngster.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I rent under rock number 4. No garage, no yard, no place for bee stuff. 2, expand. That's wild, Rick.
75.
Sure.
Joe's just not hitting his stride.
Jeffrey, 54 in November. Janet, I'm a bad grandma teaching 21-year-old grandson and his friend. I'm not sure that classifies you as a bad grandma.
I think that makes you just badass.
pretty badass grandma is what I think that makes you.
Yeah.
Joe wins.
Caribbean? What?
What the hell?
Are you okay?
All
You
right,
should get
brother.
that checked out, brother.
I don't know why you're on this line.
I'm not a doctor or anything. That doesn't sound too great. Should get that looked at. Jason says, I agree. Badass grandma. Yeah, for sure.
Oh, he was saying he's still a pup. He's still pooping yellow.
Ah,
Yeah,
okay.
that's what he's saying.
I read that to mean quite literally that you were having trouble with your bowel movements, and I was alarmed
Yeah, I was
for
very
you.
slow on that myself.
Yeah.
Like, Well, I mean, sometimes we get these random statements in the chat,
Yeah.
or they seem random from my
Yeah,
end.
yeah, yeah.
You
They
know, I've
referred to a
missed something.
conversation from like 45 seconds ago that
Yeah.
I've deleted from my brain. Yeah, he clarified.
Bernos Jones, what's up, guys? Very badass grandma. Yeah.
Bernos.
Yeah, so for those of you that are in the live that don't normally see these morning lives, we do this every morning, Monday through Saturday, but Monday through Friday, it's members only. Saturday is an open live for everyone. If you want to join the channel and become a member of the channel, you get to
Like and
you get to see all the
subscribe.
morning lives. You get a few extra goodies. Some we poll the members to get things like the last poll that is still out right now. They're voting on the new logo for the Home Brew Center, or I mean the ABV Society. It's $1.99 a month if you want to join.
Oh, there we go.
What is a good recipe, whiskey recipe? Oh, Jason, there are lots of good
What do you
whiskey
like?
recipes out there. If you're a beginner, there is something we call the super simple beginner recipe, which is where I recommend all beginners start. It's a very easy recipe, tastes great, and it's just hard to screw up. So it's great for a beginner. Spinal injections constipate you a little bit. That sucks.
This is that.
Yeah, it was. It went over their heads. Yeah, it did. Sting that thumb and swell it up.
What's
If-
going on?
If I mail you something, do I use the address on the shipping label I got from Still in the Clear? Yeah. 7709 Ellis Street. That's the one. That's where you send it if you want to send us something.
Let me look at the text real quick.
Ooh, sorry, your run stank. Guess you're not gonna do 2 elements next time. Well, we did 1 element and propane, and we will do it next time.
I see the
Because you just gotta learn. We tried to hurry it along too
Yeah.
much.
If
Was
you,
one of the bigger
like,
problems. And
We don't really
our
check the
our
text, but if you
controller is
call
the
us
first.
and be
Let me
like, hey,
see if we can get it.
Just let us know, then we'll go check when we get
The
back.
controller. Well, I don't know where it went. Zach put it up, I think. But it's the first time we used it, and it's just a dial controller. It doesn't have any numbers. It doesn't tell you how many amps are being used or anything. It's just like a dimmer switch for a light. And so we weren't real sure, how much power are we putting into it when we dial it this high? We don't know. So it'll just take some experimentation, getting used to it. we'll make a few runs. One run, if a run comes out really well, then we'll like mark on there, this is where the dial needs to be. It worked real well. We'll do that kind of a thing. Made 3 sugar washes so far using Fleischmann's, all distilled out at approximately 10% ABV. Yeah.
Across the United States every day.
Easy to add a volt amp meter to that. Yeah, we certainly could do that. I mean, we could put an external one on it. I might maybe think about adding one of those to the new SCR controller that I'm building. I don't have it in the plans for now. But it wouldn't take much, I think, to add an amp meter.
We don't give anyone any kind of legal opinion.
Clear it well. Clear it well, degas it well, and come up slow. Learning daily. Yeah, you're right, Richard. Need voltage or amps to read. I turn mine down to 45 volts. Once it starts running, works good. Good to know. Thank you, Ray.
Yeah,
Ethan, I've got a question. I'm planning on making a mead and stilling it to a spirit. How long should I ferment to mead before distilled, do you think? You just ferment it till it's done. Meads, a lot of meads will go all the way down to like 10, like 0.995. But once you get to 1.000, you can distill it.
You can see the fees. No.
You don't, like if you're used to making mead just to make mead, you don't have to wait.
No.
Like you don't have to age it to distill it. Once it's done fermenting, you can distill it. Scott made it. Hey, brother, good morning. You barely made it. We're about to jump off here. No, it's super easy, Jeff says.
All right, brother. Bye-bye.
Scott, hello, everyone. He says, I have a wall plug and the watt amp meter works well. Yeah, could just use an external one. Just bought 10 pounds of ambrosia apples. Nice. Lynn is 65. Ethan, oh, okay, thank you. Okay, you betcha. Is it safe to use 2 thumpers? Lots of people use 2 thumpers. So I don't think safety is a concern with the 2 thumpers, as long as when you shut your still down, you got to remember to open that vacuum up so that you don't collapse your still. Ordered Bloody Butcher yesterday, going for another Apple Mountain Brandy. Hell yeah. All right, well, I think we're going to jump off here, folks, and we're going to get some work done. As always, thanks for hanging out with us in the morning. Good to see everybody, and we will see you again Monday morning.
Later, dudes.